As with everything, you have to make a decision between a want and a need. You see three funnels right in front of me, blue, yellow, and red funnels, and I'm going to talk about them very briefly on your decision. Do you want an EV or do you need an EV? Do you want solar panels or do you need solar panels? Or do you want a Powerwall or do you need a Powerwall? So let's talk about the blue ones first. In your decision to become an EV owner, you had to weigh out a few decisions. Basically, how much does an EV cost? How far can you go on a single charge? What's the maintenance cost overall? Availability of charging, I might have said, charging at your home, charging on the road. Basically, you will start down here and then you'll probably stovepipe up and you make a final decision. And you have some friends out there will say, well, EVs are good. I don't know too much about it. Tell us about it. And you'll be more than happy to share your experiences in your decision on making EVs. Now, EVs are very broad. Most people just basically drive their cars. They don't really worry about a whole lot of mileage. Normally, maintenance is a key factor. Charging is a key factor. But pretty much once you park your EV and you get out of it and charge it, you pretty much jump back in it the next day and off you go. A lot more examples, but it's pretty narrow in scope. Now let's talk about the yellow funnel. The yellow funnel is like solar panels, for example. Do you really need solar panels or do you want solar panels? It's one, do you want to buy them or do you want to lease them? Are you looking at reducing your electrical bill? So the cost benefits of having solar panels could vary depending on where you live. Aesthetically, would you like to have your solar panels on the front or on the back? Do you want to reduce your EV bill, your electrical bill? Some of those things that you want to think about. So again, very big in scope of thinking, and then you have to kind of narrow it out to make a final decision on solar panels. Now, let's talk about the big boy in the house, the Powerwall. There is so much to consider in buying a Powerwall. Do you really want a Powerwall or do you need a Powerwall? And I'm going to be fully transparent with you. I received the Powerwall from a referral program that Tesla had about 2.5 years ago. And I finally received my Powerwall a month ago. So $6,500 for the Powerwall, that was free. I didn't come out of pocket. But I did have to pay for installation costs. And I will talk about that installation cost once I get to the difference between do you want a Powerwall or do you need a Powerwall. I just want to give it to you straight. For me, and I'm only speaking about me, I enjoy when I come home and I turn on the lights and they come on. I enjoy when I come home and I turn on a faucet and the water comes on. The reason why I'm saying that because I served 21 years in the military and I served in some countries where it wasn't like that. In Afghanistan, it wasn't like that. In Djibouti, Africa, it wasn't like that. I mean, the people down in Afghanistan and in Africa, in some parts of Africa, they was really limited by light and water. So we should be blessed to live in a country, the necessity of having instant power and instant water whenever we want it. The very first thing is the location of your Powerwall. 2 locations, outside or inside. The Powerwall, if you have it outside, it is weatherproofed. So you don't have to worry about it getting damaged if it's rain or snow. And by the way, the Powerwall will have to be installed very close to your electrical meter. So the Powerwall cannot be over 50 feet away from your electrical meter. They will install that Powerwall right outside, practically right next to your power meter. Inside, if you have a garage, if you want to put it inside, and if you have an unfinished wall, that might work. But again, if your garage is on the opposite side of your house where the power meter is, that's not going to work. 50 feet max is the distance that Tesla will allow for them to hook up the Powerwall to your meter. Looking at installing a Powerwall inside, you have to have an unfinished wall. And another thing you have to look at too is how big is your house. If your house is somewhere under 2,000 square feet, you may get away with one Powerwall to work everything in your house. But if you live in a house like I do, over 2,000 square feet, natural choices of selection is Tesla would love for you to get 2 Powerwalls. So again, the Powerwall is $6,500 a piece. So you're talking about $13,000 to have peace of mind of everything working in your house. I only received 1 Powerwall, so I have to be quite careful of how I use the Powerwall And again, I will just discuss that very, very briefly in this video. Okay, so we talked about the location where you want to have the Powerwall. The second thing is family. How many people are in your family? How many kids do you have? How many adults do you have? And more importantly, how many seniors are living in your home? And the reason why I bring this up is because each family is different. Unlike having solar panels in your house, or unlike driving a car, these actually factor in how much energy you burn or you use on a daily basis. If you have younger kids, they're always watching TV, they always have the lights on. If you have adults, if nobody's in the house like my wife and myself, it's just us, we use less power. If you have senior citizens, obviously you're going to use more power because you're running AC and or heat. Also, for my family, doing Monday through Fridays, we're not at home, so we're not using that much power until we get home at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. That's when we actually sit down and probably warm up something. On the weekends, we use more power. I can tell you that for a fact. My wife normally cooks 2 meals on Sunday, and we pretty much eat leftovers Monday through Friday. But again, it depends. It's very family specific. So that's something that you have to look at if you are thinking about Powerwall for yourself. Where do you live? It really depends on where do you live. In a state that have natural disasters, hurricanes, fire, tornadoes. You know, we're almost talking about every corner of the United States, but primarily on the West Coast with the fires going on. That is not a natural disaster. It could be if it was a lightning strike, but sometimes the state decides or the county decides to cut the power to your home to avoid having flash fires pop up. So that's happening quite recently in California. It does snow quite a bit and it gets very cold, so branches falling on wires, so you may lose lights. In the video you just saw, my county is actually cutting back some of the trees around the wires because it has been a problem in the past. Does your community have power lines down the street, around your house, in your backyard? And then we're going to talk about cost. I alluded to earlier how large is your home. Over 1,700 square feet. Tesla kind of mandates for you to have 2 Powerwalls to be fully functional. For me, I only have 1 Powerwall. Now the cost again of the Powerwall is $6,500 plus the install cost. My install cost altogether was $3,500. However, Tesla gave me another $1,000 credit for my referral. So out of pocket, I paid $2,500 for this Powerwall right here. Now my state also gave me a credit of $750, and that $750 will go towards my next year's taxes. So the first $750 state tax that I incurred will be paid by the state of Maryland. So those are some of the things that you really have to think about. Do you need a Powerwall? Do you want a Powerwall? It really depends on the weather too, you know, because if you drain this Powerwall down overnight, it takes longer to charge back up in the morning, especially if it's cloudy. I see the full benefit of the Powerwall. I can already tell you the full benefit of the Powerwall for me is early spring and late fall. This is when we don't use the AC at all. When it's April or May, we leave the windows open, or we have the windows open. And then at the same time, around September, October, we have the windows open. We're not using that much energy. We're not using the AC or the heat. And when we don't use a lot of 220, then I can run the Powerwall for at least 7 to 8 hours overnight. And then in the morning, when the sun comes back out, I want to keep saying that, the Powerwall will charge quickly. However, on overcast and cloudy days that you just saw in the previous video, it takes a long time for this Powerwall to charge. It might not charge all in one day. So if you run it down to about 40% on the Powerwall, this Powerwall may not charge on a cloudy day like you just saw. It may get to 100% in 2 days. So again, it just depends on how you use your energy. How do you use your power? It really depends on your family. If they use a lot of power, if you have a lot of kids in your household, how big is your household? Do you really need a Powerwall? Do you want a Powerwall? It's just so many things that you have to consider when getting a Powerwall. Are you 50 feet away from the box where I'm pointing to right on the other side? Peace of mind, I have peace of mind now because I know for a fact if we have storms, at least we won't lose lights. Up for about 7 to 8 hours. Probably longer if we're not running a lot of electricity in the house. It all depends. It depends on me, just like it depends on my next door neighbor. It could be very different. Just like buying an EV. It could be for some. I particularly like the Powerwall. I think it's really cool. I really have that peace of mind like I was telling you about. But again, it's up to you. I hope you can make some decisions. Thank you for listening to Don't Waste Your Time. This video may not be for you.